Hello? Check. Everybody hear me?
More like cockroaches than human beings. Cockroaches, they only live in the darkness of the suffering of others.
It's the Cooper and Anthony Show.
Cockroaches.
I want to talk about Sarah Palin.
Hold on. She hasn't been in my life in like 10 years.
I know, it's such a weird name to bring up, and to bring it up in the middle of a pandemic. You know, I don't want to make you fear even more that I'm bringing her name up for some terrible reason. It really isn't. So I don't watch The Masked Singer because for some inexplicable reason they have that stupid bitch Jenny McCarthy on there. I don't understand it. She's out there anti-vaxxing. It's so weird because Hollywood is so liberal and so vaccinated, and you can't work without being vaccinated in Hollywood now, yet they have this dumb bitch on the show. I don't get it. I just don't get it. So I won't watch the show because for some reason they are supporting her because, I don't know, she's the only decent looking 50-year-old they can find. I don't know. There's plenty of them out there. It's weird.
It's not her. It's the whole show that's unwatchable.
Right.
I mean, it's not a good show.
Yeah, I know the show isn't great, but why give voice and money and fame to somebody who's batshit like that? Like, why would you support those views? I mean, like, it just seems so anti-Hollywood. I don't get it. I just don't get it. And most people that I know can't stand her, which is probably why the show does well in the ratings, as well as a network show could do. I mean, Ken Jeong is fantastic. You know, they have fun people on the show. Anyway, so the idea of The Masked Singer, if you've never seen it, is they have somebody dressed in a costume. It's a character. They give some hints as to who they are, and then they perform, and then you have to guess who the person is behind the mask. It goes on for, whatever, a couple of weeks or however long it takes, a season. Who knows? I don't know. I don't watch it. And then eventually the person is unmasked, and usually the panel has no idea who they were. It's rare that they guess it. So my favorite thing about Sarah Palin being on The Masked Singer was that when she took her mask off and put her glasses on, I think Alicia Keys or somebody like that said, "Is that Tina Fey?"
No. Tina Fey, I loved you in all those movies.
Right. And I love that Sarah Palin impression that you do. Wait a minute. But that shows how good Tina Fey is, that they thought Sarah Palin was Tina Fey. So anyway, Sarah Palin's on The Masked Singer. And I wanted to play you a little bit of her rapping, which is what she did. And there's a reason why I'm talking about this today.
Shake your healthy butt. Baby got fat.
So she's dressed like a bear. And she's dancing and singing.
I ain't down with that. Situation small and the curves are kicking. And I think about sticking.
She's pretty good.
You ain't in this thing. Give me a sister, can't resist her. Red beans and rice didn't miss her. Some knucklehead tried to...
Okay, so you got the picture. She's actually not bad.
Right, but you can, if you know what Sarah Palin sounds like,
He's with chose to hit him. I pull up quick to get with him. So
it sounds like Sarah Palin.
and you want to see him in throwdown? Y'all want 5 bucks?
But you got to know it's Sarah Palin. So if you don't know who the person is and it's just somebody rapping in a pink bear costume, you know what I mean? Like there's a couple of hints. Like one of the hints was that she's been hibernating for a while and that she's a mama bear. So they're like, oh, it's somebody who's not been famous or not been in the news for a while. Oh, it's a mother. That's all the hints they really had. So she takes off her head and they're like, oh my God, Sarah Palin. No, actually Tina Fey, then Sarah Palin. And the reason why that's in the news today, that particular clip, is because Sarah Palin is suing the New York Times. I guess they'd said all kinds of things about her and they connected her to other stories that she felt was unfair, and she's suing them for defamation and this whole big lawsuit. When you sue the New York Times or you sue anybody, everything in your life is fair game. So
they're going to go right after you.
Right. Especially the New York Times.
Yeah, that's going to be their job for the next 6 months, is to destroy you.
Exactly. So I think Sarah Palin is trying to say that she is a governor and a politician and a serious person, and they can't undermine her or lie about her or say all these defamatory things about her because she's a serious politician. And they're like, hi, masked singer. So they want to use that clip that we just played for you in the court case. They associated her with some terrible things that she may or may not have been associated with. The implication is bad for her. I don't know if I think she wants money at this point. I don't think she even wants an apology. She doesn't want like a retraction. So anyway, it's some big case that I'm not going to get fully into because that's not the point. The point is that once you sue somebody, your character, your integrity, who you are, is now out there. It's now on the line. And they're going to use everything they can to come after you. So right now, today, what her lawyers are fighting against or for or about with the New York Times is not about the court case. It's about what evidence is and isn't allowed. I guess they're going through the discovery process. And the New York Times is going to use just that clip that I just played for you and saying that serious politician, my ass.
You're right.
Here's this chick in a pink bear costume rapping Baby Got Back. Like, you want us to take you seriously? And this is what you choose to do? And I think they have a very interesting point here, because Sarah Palin saying that she's a serious politician. Yes, she is. But she's also a celebrity. She's also somebody in the public eye. She made herself more than a politician. You know, she's put herself out there, not just as a potential vice presidential candidate, but, you know, she's out there, you know, and
she
doing
got
the
made
fact that
fun of on Saturday Night Live, and she went on Saturday Night Live to carry the joke further.
Which is fine. A lot of politicians do that. I don't fault her for that, because they do, like John McCain has done it. Bill Clinton has done it. Like, everybody on both sides of the aisle have participated. Hillary Clinton. It's a thing. The fact that she went on The Masked Singer dressed as a pink bear and twerked and rapped and you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They're using that as the example of, bitch, how we take you seriously.
Right.
But so she's trying to fight that now so that that is not allowed in court. But I don't think you can unring that bell. That was on national television.
It's on Fox.
On a major network. Yeah, right. It's a network show. You know, it's not like something if she did it at a party, if she was at her husband's surprise party and she did it there, then she'd have a case. You know, that's private. It's something she did in the privacy of her own home or with her husband or some private joke they have, whatever. But the fact that she went on national television and did that, I think that makes the New York Times point of, I don't think we can take you seriously.
Yeah, I don't know why people take on big, huge newspapers like that. You know, like Trump took on the Times, calling them fake news. Yeah. That's all they have people to do, is just to dig up shit about you.
Right.
That's all. You open that can of worms, it's going to come flushing out all the crap about you. So why you would take on all those people that have nothing else better to do but dig up crap about you?
But there's crap to dig up. That's the thing. If you want to be taken seriously, nobody forced you to be on The Masked Singer. You chose to do that. That was your choice. They asked you. You said yes. You agreed. Do you know what I mean? Like there's certain lines that people who want to be taken seriously, politicians, newscasters, there are certain lines they just won't cross. Not Sarah Palin. So if that's who she, just own it, girl. Just be like, yeah, I had a good time. I got up and I rapped and I was dressed like a bear, and it's good, wholesome fun. And I'm not ashamed of it. I don't think she should be fighting this part of the lawsuit. I think she should be like, you know what? Yeah, I did it and I'm proud of it. I hate when they go, no, you can't use that. I didn't mean to. You meant to. It's not like this was the beginning of your career before you were a governor. Do you know what I mean? This is like just, a few months ago.
It's still on your DVR. You haven't even deleted it off of your own DVR. You keep it. You keep it like all of Cooper's shows that she's ever been on is still on her DVR. You keep that.
Exactly. Yeah, I keep all that stuff. But I keep it on. It's funny. I just found a whole stack of DVDs because we're going through stuff and throwing stuff out. Like I told you at the beginning of the week, we're selling as much as we can on eBay. I found a whole stack of CDs that I guess when you do television, what they used to do is they would send you a DVD of your appearance to be nice. Like you came here for free. Here, this is for your archives or your website, whoever you want to use it for. So I have tons of that stuff. I forgot how much TV I used to do.
Yeah, but how are you going to watch it now?
Oh, yeah.
See, that's the problem. I found a bunch of CDs that I had that I, put our show on and things like that. I have no way to play them.
Right.
It's just a shiny silver circle now. I don't have anything to put
Why would you play them though? Even if I went and bought like a CD player like on eBay or something, a portable CD player, what's the point? Who am I playing them for? My grandkids? I don't have grandkids.
You play them to keep them online, I guess, to put them on your website or just to have it. I don't know. I mean, I have stuff like that and I never go back and watch it.
I know enough people in the video editing world that I can give them to if I want them to digitize that stuff for me. If I wanted to, but I don't even care. Why would I care? I don't want to see myself young and skinny.
And when you give it to them, they're even going to say, "What is this? It's a shiny circle. I don't know what this is. We don't even use this anymore. I don't even know where to get one of these at."
Well, here's what's crazy. So one of the very first radio stations I worked at was WLIR. That was a radio station on Long Island that is now kind of iconic. There have been documentaries made about it. There was a lot of music that was discovered there. So I worked there during the later years, like, the late 90s, early 2000s, when, after it'd been through several incarnations, they went back to its original format. So I met this guy who's in radio who worked there. He has a lot of friends that used to work there. He's keeping the archives. So he said to me, "Do you have any audio from when you were at LIR?" I was like, "Yeah, I got tons of stuff, but it's all on cassette."
Cassette.
He goes, "Yeah, I know. They used to do cassettes." That's how they do your air check. As soon as you opened the mic, the cassette would just start running. You didn't have a choice. It just ran. And then the program director would take it and listen to it and tell you why you sucked. But so I have all those. So I was like, they're on cassette. He's like, "Great, bring them in." He has a cassette to digitize situation there. He has a whole studio.
Yeah, I just bought one.
You did?
Yeah, I just bought a cassette machine that you plug a USB drive into and it goes right to your computer.
What? See? Okay, so people have that. You can do that for a CD player too.
Yeah, so I had to go out and buy one because I found a bunch of cassettes. And God only knows what's on them. I mean, it's just shows and shows and shows and just I mean, I used to just record everything when I was a kid. I would have a little recorder, and every time I talked to anybody, I would hit record. And now I can go back and listen to all that crap. It's weird.
So you were annoying back then too.
I was very annoying. I would record phone conversations. I had a little thing that you plugged into a phone so you could record phone conversations. So
that's legal.
I was 7. I bought the thing at Radio Shack and plugged it in and recorded all my phone conversations. And I listened back to it and go, I had nothing to say.
You're 7.
You just talk to your friends. You're like, yeah. Uh-huh. What are you doing? There was nothing entertaining about it at all. And I couldn't even listen to it. I was like, I got to turn this one off.
This sucks. I sucked back then.
Oh, yeah, give me some. Cut me a piece. Go away, Baton.
It's the Cooper and Anthony Show.
The TSA put out their top 10 catches of 2021. The top 10 things they found, people trying to go through the TSA lines at airports, and they said, you can't board the plane with this.
Wait, you know what's crazy about this? I think that the TSA did this mainly in New Jersey at Newark Airport, because there was a whole story locally today that the majority of the stuff that the TSA found was here in the tri-state area at Newark Airport. So the list you're going to tell me, this is mostly the idiots that I live near.
It is. It's a lot of New Jersey.
A lot of New Jersey, yeah. Uh-huh.
So the number 10, and they got it in New Jersey, bullets in deodorant.
Bullets in deodorant?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like somebody opened a deodorant thing and stuck bullets in there?
And put bullets in it, and then put the
to hide 'em.
deodorant back, and then tried to sneak it through.
That's kind of clever.
Well, it is, because now when you buy deodorant, they only put like an inch of real deodorant in,
true.
and you have like 8 inches of nothing to put in there. So that's where you should hide your weed or hide your bullets. And that's
But
what
apparently
somebody did.
not, because it got caught. So obviously it wasn't the best place.
It's deodorant. No, it's not. It's bullets. No, it's not. That, you know what? Speed Stick put that in there. I had no idea they did that. I should sue them.
There's speed in there. That's why it's Speed Stick. It's on the label.
We should sue Speed Stick. But isn't that by Menon? We should sue by Menon because they did that.
My cocaine is in there. It's Speed Stick. That's what it says.
Number 9, Newark International Airport, an antique pistol.
Oh, well, but it's an antique.
It's still a gun.
Oh, okay. So it was like a working gun. It wasn't like a toy or like an antique.
No, it's...
okay.
It's like the guy that robbed the stagecoach back in the 1800s. It's that kind of gun.
Well, okay, so let's say I live in New Jersey and I go down to Florida and I go to like an estate sale and it's Jesse James' great granddaughter and she's selling one of his guns. How am I supposed to get that back home?
You check it. You don't carry the antique pistol in your backpack. You check it with everything else that goes under the plane, or I've done this before, you send it to yourself. So you go to the UPS store and you send a package to yourself with everything you don't want to carry on a plane.
Okay, so if I just spent $100,000 on an antique gun, I am not putting it in the luggage where they can lose it. I'm not putting it in the post office where they can lose it. I am carrying it on the plane with me.
Well, that's fine, but you're going to spend the night in jail. That's just the rules. You know, ever since 9/11, they've kind of cracked down on that type of thing. September 10th, 2001, you could get away with that. You could
have done it, yeah.
You could talk your way through the antique pistol. Now, in 2022, you're not taking it. Sorry.
Not so much, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to jail. Number 8, this is in a Hobby International Airport in Texas. Somebody tried to sneak a meth burrito.
What is that even? Like somebody put their meth inside a burrito?
Yeah, so they rolled it up like a burrito and said, "It's my lunch." No,
okay,
it's
I have
meth.
Several issues with. Don't you hate when somebody brings a burrito on the plane?
That's probably why they looked into it. It's like, you're not taking this burrito on a plane.
Right, it stinks and it's got meth in it.
And you're going to fart and you're going to take a big dump on the plane. It's not going to be good.
Not going to be good.
You don't need to be doing this. Okay, number 7, this is coming out of Hawaii. A gun belt buckle. A belt buckle that's a gun.
Oh, what cool. Like a spy thing? Like a 007 thing?
Yeah, I guess you do a little wiggle thing and a gun goes pew, like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah, but they went to jail.
Again, can't bring it on the plane, yeah.
No. Number 6, a meat cleaver.
Okay, why? Why would you even why? Okay, unless you're a chef, unless you're a professional chef and you have all your knives with you, but even then they make you check that stuff. Why would you bring a meat cleaver on a plane?
It's Pennsylvania. It's Harrisburg International
there
Airport.
You go. Okay,
so,
that's all you had to say. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. At Fort Walton Beach, somebody tried to bring bear spray.
Is that not, you can't bring bear spray on a plane?
No, bear spray is pepper spray times 10. So, no, you can't take bear spray on a plane.
What if there's a bear on the plane? What
There's
if
no
somebody
bear
has
on a plane.
Maybe somebody has an emotional support bear. You don't know.
If that thing goes off on the plane, people will die. It's not good.
Okay.
Number 4, somebody tried to bring a machete. Just a big, huge machete.
God. That's just stupid. Like, how far do you get with a machete? Like, you get out of the cab,
right,
and you walk in, and then you can't get very far.
Yeah, because it's sticking out of your bag.
Obviously you didn't get through TSA. But I'm just saying, like, did they not know it was there? Did they think it was okay to bring it? Like, I always want to know, like, what these people were thinking.
Is it that guy that was from Down Under that had that movie, Crocodile Dude? Was it that guy?
He's got a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
In Syracuse, somebody trying to sneak fireworks through TSA.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I bet that happens a lot.
yeah, because maybe in New York you can buy fireworks, but in Jersey you can't, so you try to sneak. I don't know.
Yeah.
Number 2, this is Sacramento, a wine holder shaped like a gun. So it was a wine holder that looked like a gun.
Okay, so it wasn't a gun. It was a wine holder that just looked like one. Like a wine holder or a wine
holder
opener?
No, a holder shaped like a gun. I guess you can't take that. I don't know why. And
Well, it's also scary because, Sacramento is where all the serial killers are from. So, yeah, you don't want to take anything that resembles anything murderous.
see, I always was scared to go through with a microphone because a microphone, some of my mics look like guns.
Mm-hmm.
But they never stopped me for that. I always got through.
I got stopped. I was coming back from Los Angeles when I'd won my National Gracie Award. So I took the Gracie Award. I went with my mom, and we just went for a couple of days. So we didn't even check any bags. We both had 2 little carry-on pieces that went over our heads, and I just took the Gracie and I wrapped it in like a sweater or whatever so it wouldn't get damaged. And I just was going to bring it in, and we got stopped by TSA, and like 4 people showed up, and they were like, stand back, ma'am. Because I think they thought it was like a bomb.
Award. And those things weigh like 20 pounds.
They're really heavy. Yeah, they're really, really heavy. But they, thought it was a bomb or something like that. So I was like, what? I got really scared. I was like, what's happening? And like, your bag, ma'am. I was like, what's happening in my bag? I was so dumbfounded, but like 4 people, 2 armed, they held me aside, and they put like
fingers in your butt and everything.
Well, yeah, the whole thing, but they had like practically like not hazmat suits, but whatever like the bomb sniffing suits are. and they went through my bag piece by piece. And they pulled it out. They're like, "Man, what is this?" I was like, "It's my Gracie Award. My name is on it." They're like, "Oh, congratulations!"
Can I go now? I'm gonna miss my plane because
what an award.
Number 1 happened in New Orleans. Somebody tried to take a chainsaw. It doesn't have any gas in it though. It's still a chainsaw. No, it's fine. It doesn't even start. Look, doesn't even start.
Did you see The Massacre? It's a whole movie about it.
I don't like girls.
It's the Cooper and Anthony Show.
This is stupid.
Everybody knows there are certain things you don't do, and you do at weddings. Like if you're a wedding guest.
You said do.
There are certain. I said do. I did say do. This is already starting off great. But as a wedding guest, there are certain things that that it's expected of you. For example, do not wear white. Don't wear a white dress if you're a female. You know what I mean? That's for the bride. She wears the white dress. Mostly. Most girls are not wearing white anymore, by the way. Mm-hmm. Make sure you keep your phone on silent.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want your phone going off during a romantic moment or the vows or any of that kind of stuff. That's just rude. And you don't do anything that's going to take the attention away from the couple. You go to the wedding knowing this is their big day. You're there to support them. You're not there to make it about you. Like, we all know that as a wedding guest, okay? So what do you do if your boss asks you if he can propose to his partner at your wedding?
No.
What do you do? Yeah.
No.
This happened to a 24-year-old dude. He was set to get married in a couple of weeks. His boss said, can I use your wedding to propose to my girlfriend? Here's what I want to do. I want your bride to be, when she's the bride, instead of taking the bouquet and throwing it over and, whoever catches it is the next to get married, I want her to just, as a surprise, walk over to my girlfriend, hand it to her, hand her the bouquet, and then I'm going to get down on one knee and propose.
That's kind of clever, though.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah, I kind of like the idea.
It's kind of clever. I mean, you're going to do that if you. It's the reception. as long as you don't mess with the wedding,
Mm-hmm.
I think the reception, if you come up with something like that, I don't think that's so bad.
Yeah, it's the reception. It's the part where, like, a lot of stuff goes on at receptions. You know, the cutting of the cake, the first dance. There's a lot of moments that you have to deal with as a wedding guest at a reception. Not every bride throws her flowers. I didn't, because mine was a really expensive bouquet of peonies, and they were really beautiful. And there was no way I was going to throw them.
Of course, you didn't want to throw them to somebody. They didn't pay for them. You paid for them, and there was some special flower that only blooms for 1 week in Africa. Exactly. Of course, that's what you had.
Pretty much, yep.
And you wanted to save them, and if you would have thrown them, some bitch would have caught them, and the bitch wouldn't have given you the flowers back. So,
exactly.
That's exactly what you thought.
Exactly. So I did not throw my flower. I did all the other things that you do, like I said, cutting of the cake, and whatever other little wedding milestones you're supposed to do. But my flowers are my flowers. Tough bitch. I paid for them. I've been at weddings where they're going to throw the bouquet, and I'm still sitting and eating. First of all, I don't want to catch the bouquet, and second of all, I'm sorry, this food's too good and it's free. I'm not getting
and people are getting wasted. If people are drinking and doing all that, then the game on. As long as it doesn't happen during the wedding, reception's a different story.
Right. I think the throwing of the bouquet part is such a... I don't know, if you've ever been to a sporting event of any kind, and there's like a little melee that takes place over in like section B7. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You don't really, you see something going on, but you're busy watching the game. You know what I mean? You're not looking over at B7 and seeing whatever little melee is happening. I feel like the throwing of the flowers is like a little, they don't stop the wedding down to do that. It's weird to do that. So I wouldn't have had a problem with this if it was my wedding, because, well, sorry. It depends on how much you like your boss. Do you like your boss? Is this a person that you respect and a person you like? If it's a boss like you and I have had in the past, there's certain big bosses, like the big boss we would do it for.
We wouldn't now, but back then we would have.
No, well, now we wouldn't. The big boss.
Big boss can kiss my ass.
Yeah, now he can kiss our ass. But back then, we really liked him. And if he asked us anything, we would have done it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, now we wish him cancer.
Yeah, now we wish him cancer. So, so we certainly would not say yes. Well, I don't know about cancer, Anthony. But
COVID.
We wish him COVID. We definitely wish him COVID.
We wish all three of them COVID.
We wish all three of them COVID.
And Delta.
Exactly.
Delta. We wish them Delta in the hospital COVID. With a touch.
Not Omicron. Not I have the sniffles COVID. We want you to suffer.
With a touch of cancer. I mean, they can have skin cancer.
No,
the big boss can, because, okay. One of the bosses you do wish that on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, we're saving a piss for them when they die to pee on their grave. So you can't say you don't wish them harm.
I'll be honest, when everybody was getting sick and dying of COVID and being hospitalized, one of our bosses was really, really unhealthy. And we assumed unvaccinated as well.
Oh, they were unhealthy just walking around.
So I'll be honest, I did go to the Facebook page to see if they were still alive. I did check to see if it was a memorial page yet or not.
Yeah, because I'm going to start drinking water now. I'm saving up a lot of urine for certain people's graves. And I will book a flight for that. There's 6 people on my list, by the way.
Yes. I know who they are.
Yeah, and one I'm on 6. And one I'm on the air with right now. So
hey!
You deserve it.
Are you kidding? I already have it set up that I'm getting my ashes scattered all over your house, all over your property. I'm never leaving you alone.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so the groom refused. The boss took it badly, and now he's having issues at work. But the groom said he already knew how his bride was going to feel about it, Because here's why. He said a few years ago they were watching a Facebook video where something like that happened, where somebody proposed at somebody else's wedding, and she was like, oh, that's awful. Like, people shouldn't ever ask the bride for anything like that. Like, don't put her in this situation. So the groom said that he didn't even want to tell his wife-to-be because she's a people pleaser and she would want to help the boss. But he said that I'm not even going to run it by her because she deserves a lovely wedding unmarred by anybody else's proposal. And what he decided to do is uninvite the boss, not let him propose, and find another job.
People are quitting over anything now, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing to quit over.
Yeah, you just don't want to deal with it. I mean, if you can find another job pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this COVID thing has really changed people's minds about their job. I mean, there's people that hate their job, but now it's getting to the point of, I really hate my job, and I'm just going to quit.
I think people are they're seeing enough people around them dying or at least getting very sick where they're starting to reevaluate what life is about. And then also remember, we're really tied to social media, and Betty White died, Peter Bogdanovich died, Bob Saget died. It just seems like there's so much death around us. Every time we hear about death from COVID, people are changing their view on what's important in life, like where they want to live. I mean, right now, there's two things that are going on I thought was really interesting. People are moving out of New York in droves for two reasons. One, because
taxes.
They can't. They can't afford to live here because they chose to either take a different job, downgrade their job, whatever. They can't afford to live here. And then a lot of people are like, even if I can afford to live here, why would I spend this amount of money every single month to live in a 700 square foot apartment when I can live in a 4-bedroom house in North Carolina
and not shovel snow and not deal with all the crap that you have to deal with, and you can park in your own driveway or your garage, right? And you can work from anywhere now.
I walk out my door. There's somebody blocking my doors. I'm trying to get out my building. From my building, when I walk the dog in the morning, just from the front door of my building to where she likes to go pee, I probably encountered 20 people just in that 100-foot space. So I think people, because of COVID, they don't want to be around other people. They don't want to deal with subways and buses and somebody coughing on you in restaurants. And, so they're moving out of New York because they're reevaluating because of COVID. The other thing that's happening, I don't know if you saw this story today, Rolls-Royce is selling the most Rolls-Royces in the year that they have ever sold, in the history of the company. They said they're hearing the same thing over and over. People are like, I've always wanted to drive one. Life's too short. People are dying. I don't want to wait until I'm 70. If I can afford one by then, I'm going to do what I have to do and get a Rolls Royce now. So, so people that have a steady income, I don't know what it is per month for a Rolls Royce, but whatever it is, people are doing it.
Yeah, that should be their slogan. That should be their ad campaign. You don't want to wait till you're 70 and you're dead. Buy one now. You always wanted to drive one. Come on. Down to the new Rolls Royce. It's just $37,000 a month.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The Cooper and Anthony Show.
These people are obviously total lunatics. Muy comico.
Let's see if you hate this guy like everybody else in the world hates this guy, but I don't hate this guy. I love this guy.
Okay.
This guy is he lives in Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
He's a cabinet minister. I don't know what that is. I guess he's on the city council or something of economic development and job. So he posted a photo one morning taken inside his home with the caption about his wife. It showed his wife outside shoveling snow.
Uh-huh.
So they had a big snowstorm. He's inside. She's outside shoveling all this snow. And he said, even after a 12-hour night shift at the hospital last night, my wife still has the energy to shovel the driveway. God bless her and all of our frontliners. Time to make her some breakfast.
Wait a minute. She has spent 12 hours on the front line dealing with COVID, and he makes her shovel snow?
My wife is amazing both at home and work. I'm very grateful for her and everything she does. I love her so much. Here's a photo of her shoveling the snow while he was inside.
And then the next caption is going to be her serving him divorce papers.
Now, some women enjoy doing things like that.
They do?
Yeah, you wanted to dig my car out. When we had a bunch of snow, you were like, I'm going to get out there before you and dig.
Good point.
Yeah. What am I going to do? He's a nice guy. He took a picture and said, bless her.
Well, the reason why I wanted to shovel your car out, because I was afraid that you were going to keel over and have a heart attack. I grew up in Long Island. I grew up in New York. I'm used to shoveling snow. And I thought between us, if the person is going to keel over, it's going to be me and not you.
Well, it's Minnesota. They both live in Minnesota. They know what it's like to shovel snow. But I'm just saying, if she went out there to do it, and he's getting trashed, by the way.
I'm sure he is.
They put this on TMZ. People are just taking him to town. He didn't say, go shovel the snow so I can go to work after your 12-hour shift. She just went out there and started doing it.
Well, it's not that she started doing it. It's the fact that she knows, in your relationship after you've been together a while, what your significant other will and won't do. Do you know what I mean? Like you know how it goes in your relationship. Like he does the laundry, I do the cooking, like I clean the house, he does the dishes. Like we have certain things around the house that he does and I do at this point, I see somebody reposted it and wrote, "Tell me you're a terrible husband without saying I'm a terrible husband."
My wife is shoveling snow after a 12-hour shift.
Unless John has a good excuse for taking this picture and not helping his wife, he'll become a noun for women. Like my husband is such a John.
But he's making her breakfast. And I'm telling you, some women like to do it. And I think he would be a douche to say, no, don't do that. Let me do it, because she wanted to do it.
And you took a picture instead of helping her. Heterosexuality is terrifying. I'm not sure, but I bet she would have preferred to come home to an already shoveled driveway after a 12-hour shift.
The snow don't shovel itself. He was sleeping.
She's not shoveling the driveway. She's clearing a path to drag your dead body to the trunk of her car after she sees this tweet.
This is not live. It's like a rerun.
It's a rerun.
It's the Cooper and Anthony Show.
What stupid thing did you do that landed you in the hospital? Hey, Mika, how are you?
Hi, Cooper. I'm doing great.
Is it Mika or Micah? I want to say your name right.
It's Mika.
Oh, it's Mika. Okay, good.
Go ahead, yes.
Oh, good. Okay. So how are you?
I'm great. It's been 21 years, so I feel much better.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
So what is it that you've had to spend 21 years healing from?
Well, my dad and I used to do educational things together when I was a little girl, and I also used to get hurt a lot when I was with him for some reason. Okay, well, anyway, we decided to go to a cemetery where my great grandfather's grave was, and he had one of these big old-fashioned granite monuments, the nice solid kind that stood up,
Yeah.
And we were going to take a rubbing from it. You know what that is?
That's where you take a piece of paper and you put it over it, and then you rub it with, what do you use, a pencil? What do you do?
Charcoal or a crayon or something,
Uh-huh.
And so I was doing that, and really educational,
Yeah, very educational, in a graveyard, great place to bring a kid. Mm-hmm.
And then, like, a little eddy of wind kicked up, and I remember looking up and seeing some leaves swirl around, and then the thing broke off at the base and fell on me.
No!
I'm not joking.
How badly were you hurt?
Well, it sprained my ankle, and it really scared the dickens out of everybody. So
I'm sure. Oh, my God. And you must have been so freaked out, like your grandfather's ghost was there or something.
It was like he really didn't want a great-granddaughter or something, and I didn't know what I thought. But it was scary. So I had to go to the hospital for that,
Better your foot than your head. I thought you could tell me it fell on your head.
No, it just fell on my body. It just fell on me. I guess I was looking at the leaves, and thank God I wasn't, like, looking at the letters, or it might have fallen on my head. I don't know.
Your dad must have felt so guilty because he took you in one piece and brought you back broken.
Oh, yeah. You know, when my mom saw me on crutches, it was probably the most golden moment of our lives.
I'm sure. Sweetie, I'm sorry I broke her. Thank you so much. Thank you for your call. That's a great story. Hi, Danielle. How are you? Hey, Danielle.
Yes.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
So we're talking about the stupid thing that you did that landed you in the hospital. Did you do something as stupid as me? I kicked a tree, basically.
Oh, mine was, I was literally like went blank. No, the stupid thing that I did was, I was, totally went blank. Oh,
you were in high school?
From high school, yes, because there were so many I was thinking in my head.
Isn't that funny? You think of one, you're like, oh, I did this one stupid thing. Oh, and then there's that, and then there's that. Right?
Yeah, well, it's a good thing I had insurance all my life. No, I was in high school, and we were coming back from the field from gym, and I was walking through the door to the gym and to get change clothes, and there was a post in the middle of the door, and I walked right into it, and I wear glasses. And so I walked right into the post, and I was like, oh, God, I hope nobody saw that. So I kept walking and kind of rubbed my brow, kind of rubbed on my face. I was like, God, that kind of hurt, trying to rub it away, and play it off. And I was like, thank goodness nobody saw it. And then next thing you know, this girl turns around to say something to me, and she just starts screaming hysterically. And I'm like, what? What's going on? And I look behind me, and she was looking at me. I had smeared the blood all over my face. It was all over me. And it looked like I had been in this humongous fight. And everybody was like, what happened? What happened? And I was like, I couldn't tell them I ran into the door, So I was like, yeah, I got to fight. Nobody saw it. Just don't talk about it.
It was a kid, another school. They ran away already.
I know. I ended up getting 18 stitches. Eventually, a week later, everybody found out about it.
Oh, my God. Right. Up through your eyebrow?
Yeah, and I still have a scar. So.
Oh, no. And you still have the scar to remind you how silly you were.
Yes.
Oh, no. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you. It's awful when you still have the scar. Because you're like, I did something stupid. Okay, that was dumb. And then years pass, and there's the scar. And people always ask you, how'd you get that scar? And then you need a brand new story. Well, I was running with the bulls in Pamplona.
Right.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm doing well. How's everyone doing?
Very good. We're good. Anthony, you good?
Yes, I'm fine.
I didn't even ask you today. For all I know, you're not good.
I'm fine.
Okay, Anthony's good. So, Jennifer, what stupid thing did you do that landed you in the hospital?
Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Well, give me a second to lead up to what I did.
Go.
I actually was going to visit some friends at the university several years ago. I was driving to see them, and they were going out the night that I came up. And I got there, I wasn't having a good time, so I turned back around to go home, wrecked my car. That's not what landed me in the hospital, though. I contacted one of my friends. She was worried about me. She wasn't able to come and get me. So I contacted another friend that happened to be living in one of the dorms. Both friends lived in the same dorm room, or the dorm building. This was over like a Christmas break when the place was absolutely desolate.
Right.
And there was hardly anyone around except for my friends, ironically. But actually came back to the dorm. It was probably around 5 in the morning. One of my friends, made sure I was okay. He was like, I'm going to bed. If you need to go upstairs to tell Brooke, my other friend, what had happened, she's like, go ahead and leave the door locked, go upstairs and let her know I'm going to bed. And I was like, okay, go to bed. I'm going to go let her know that I'm okay. So I go into the fire escape stairwell, not realizing that it was for the fire escape only. It's an old building. So I thought that it was the same stairwell for anyone.
Right.
So the stairwell, there was like a door, a breezeway, maybe about 4 feet long, and then another door that went into the stairwell.
Right.
It had windows in it. Anyways, I'm going up the stairwell and realized that I locked myself in the stairwell. I banged and banged on the door. No one heard me. Again, it was desolate. It was just
because everyone's gone for the holiday.
No one was around.
No one's there.
This is in the mountains. It was it was under 30 degrees outside. I was in flip-flops, pajama pants, and a tank top. I was freezing. I was in the stairwell for about 45 minutes, running up and down, banging on doors, hoping someone would hear me. No one heard me. So there was a window that went into the breezeway. I climbed through that window into the breezeway to get closer to where maybe someone could hear me.
Right.
I bang, no one answered. So I'm sitting there watching the sunrise. I'm looking out the window, freezing. It's about to snow. And I see some random guy stumbling through the parking lot, and I'm yelling to him. I'm like, hey, can you help me? Can you find out if someone can let me in?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, your building's locked. I can only get into my building. The campus police weren't around, nothing. Finally, he looked at me. I'm panicking. I swear to God I wasn't inebriated at all.
Right.
I'm panicking. I'm like, okay, I'm freezing. I'm scared. And the guy goes, don't worry about it. Just jump. I'll catch you. And I was like,
oh, no.
So I sat there for a minute. And, of course, you know, when you're looking down, 3 floors, mind you.
Right.
That was the window started on the 3rd floor in the stairwell.
Right.
So I'm like looking down, I'm like, okay, maybe it's steeper than it looks. I'm like, no one can find me. I've been here forever.
Maybe it's steeper than it looks.
So I jumped. I literally actually only sprained my ankle. I waited the next day. My knee was black and blue from
Oh, my God. I can't believe you only sprained your ankle. I can't. After having a car accident.
My dad had to come and get me to take me to the emergency room in my hometown, which was like 2.5 hours away. I didn't know that area at all. It was in the middle of nowhere. And my dad came to get me, and he did not believe me, and he swore I had to be
drunk. Because you do something so stupid. People are like, well, you have to be drunk to do something like that. There's no way you were sober and jumped out a window.
I panicked. And,
yeah.
So finally we got, he came the next day and got me. Finally, I had to wait outside for another hour for someone to finally come and come and get me and bring me inside.
With you in like a tank top and shorts and flip-flops in the middle of winter. Oh,
yes,
no.
Yes.
You're lucky you didn't get frostbite, Jennifer. That could have been awful.
It was pretty bad.
Oh, God.
Cigarette for my first time in my life that night, and I smoked it in one puff. I was so nervous.
Anthony can so totally relate to that.
Picking me up and carrying me around the building so I could sit somewhere. I was in mud. It was like mud everywhere from where the snow had just melted, and it was starting to snow. So the next day my dad comes and gets me, takes me to the hospital, and the doctor sits there. He feels my hip, my lower back. He couldn't believe I was standing. And my dad, the doctor says, how far did you jump? I said, 3 floors. And he goes, and you're looking? And he goes, you had to be. There's no way you went there and you were sober. I said, no, I was. I just panicked. And the doctor didn't believe me. And to this day, I feel my ankle never healed back properly.
Wow.
Because it was so swollen, he couldn't find a fracture or anything. But, yeah, it was.
But panic will do. You've heard stories of people doing things when they're absolutely freaked out or panicked, and you're not even really thinking. You're just working on adrenaline. That makes perfect sense. It's almost like being drunk.
I had a car accident earlier that night as well, and that's where I think I just was not thinking, completely panic mode. So.
Oh my God, Jennifer, that's such a story. I'm exhausted. I can't. I mean, that's each time she was saying something, I was like, and now. Oh wait, and what about now? I mean, that was like the kind of story where I really was like, she's going to end up like in the emergency room now. Okay, now. Wow, I can't believe she only busted her ankle.
Wow.
She got very lucky. That's some story.
Three stories.
3 stories, and it seemed reasonable at the time.
Right.
Through a window.
It's those moments. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Doing good, Cooper. Love the show.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. Thank you. We're talking about what stupid thing you did that landed you in the hospital, 8776-COOPER. And apparently I'm not alone. Joe has a story as well.
Well, I ended up in the hospital for about 4 days after this, but my cousins had a farm, and out next to the barn, they had an above-ground pool with a wraparound deck on it.
So far, I see no danger.
Okay. Well, the girls were all over on the other side of the pool, sunning and all, like lizards. And I was trying to get them wet, so I jump off the other side of the deck into the pool, and I was like, 42 pounds, so it didn't really make a splash. So I was like, okay, I need to be higher up.
Oh, no.
So I get to looking, and there just happens to be a ladder going up to the roof of the barn.
No.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was probably a good 18, 20 foot. And so I climbed up there, and I'm on the peak of this barn roof. I'm looking down, getting my target in sight. And,
sure. Making sure the girl's looking?
No, because they were back up.
Oh, okay.
So I ran and did my jump, and half of me landed in the water. The other half ended on the deck. In other words, I did the ultimate split.
Oh my goodness.
I ended up actually dislocating a hip.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, the hip was secondary when it came to what was hurting the most.
Right.
Oh no.
And I just kind of rolled off into the pool. I could not move my leg, so I had my arm up on the deck. I started screaming.
Oh no.
And the girls were just laughing at me, so that was...
You were like, no, I'm not trying to be funny. Hospital, 911 somebody. Not funny.
Can't really talk right now.
Can't really talk right now. Going through puberty again.
Well, actually,
In a matter of seconds.
I was only 9 years old, so I think I kind of stunted puberty for about...
You're still waiting for it.
No, not yet.
Okay, good. Glad to hear that. Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much for calling. Poor thing. Oh, no. Anthony, you can relate to that, right?
I don't
Well, when
know.
girls hear the stories about getting hit, there, we're like, oh, that must be awful. Guys are like, ooh.
No, what I love is when you watch like a TV show or something and the guy gets hit there, the woman goes, ooh. It's like, you don't know.
Yeah,
you
we
have
don't really
no
know.
idea.
But then there's childbirth, so you don't know.
Oh, it
Hi,
hurts
Mike.
worse.
How are you?
Doing good, thanks.
So what stupid thing were you doing that landed you in the hospital?
Well, I was car surfing. My friends and I used to do stupid stuff at night, small town, didn't have anything else to do. Swear there was no drugs or drinking involved. We were just bored. So we used to go driving around the back roads and about 15, 20 miles an hour, and somebody would climb out the window onto the roof of the car.
And now car surfing, for people who don't know, that's when you're actually on the roof of the car and you hold on.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
you're laying down on the car, which seemed safe at the time.
Yeah, Teen Wolf did it. That's where everybody
Teen
got
Wolf
it from.
did it, right.
Yeah.
And with no alcohol involved, it was hardly worth it, right?
Yeah, probably. I'm starting to think maybe we should have been drinking. We would have been doing safer stuff. But
So what'd you do? Let's hear.
Well, he was driving, and I said, hey, I'm going to do it. I rolled down the window, and I sat on the car window to get ready.
Mm-hmm.
And he must have hit a bump or something. And I reached for the roof, and there was nothing to hold on to. And there was no ski rack or anything. It was a nice sedan. And at that point, my memory ends, and I have to pick up the story from other people because I ended up losing 3 days of my memory.
Oh, my God.
So he hit the bump. I fell out the window. He stops the car, comes back to me, and I'm not responding. And apparently he got me in the car, went down to the neighbor, ended up calling my mother, who told him, take him to the hospital, you idiot.
Right.
So I ran into the hospital. At this point, I'm starting to come to a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And to add on to the story, about a week before, I'd been at school, and a friend had backed over my foot with his car.
Oh, God.
So at this point, we're walking to the hospital, and I don't even know what had happened to me.
Uh-huh.
And I stubbed my hurt foot on the curb. So it reminded me that it hurt. So I went in, and they asked me why I was here, and he said, he fell out of the car. And they said, no, we need him to tell us. And I said, he ran over my foot with the car. And they said, no. And my friend said, no, that's not what happened. He fell out of the car, and he hit his head. So.
Oh, no. And did they do the whole, what day is it, who's the president, that whole thing with you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that, it's funny you said that, because when they did say that, I was like, live from New York, it's Saturday night. I was so out of it. I didn't even know what was going on. But
that seemed like the reasonable answer.
Yeah, well, exactly. It was fun, But they ended
Who's
up,
the president?
they were
Live from New York, it's Saturday night. And then the audience went wild.
Exactly, yeah, but it was all in my head, right?
Of course. Oh, Mike, I'm so glad you're alive to tell us the story. That is a good one.
That's a good story.
If we were giving it, should be a good thing. We should be giving out like awards or something, or some sort of, I don't know, he'd win. That's it. If we were giving out my book.
I don't know. We got one more segment.
Yeah, we really do. So we're talking about the stupid things you did that landed you in the hospital. And Anthony and I are very happy to hear that we're not alone in this. Hi, James. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
We're real good. So
good.
what was it? What's your stupid thing?
Well, it was about 1984. I was in the military over at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and it was on a Saturday afternoon. And now this is, I was very naive about cars, and it was my very first car. My grandparents had given it to me, and it was an old 66 Fairlane 500.
In 1984.
Right.
Okay.
It was like a boat of a car.
Right.
Anyway, so I needed to fill up one of my tires because it was going, it was leaking air a little bit. So I thought, okay, I'll get out there. Well, I pulled on post into the gas station, and I started filling it up. Well, of course, stupid me, I had no idea that you had to have a tire gauge to tell you how many pounds you're supposed to put in your tire.
God.
Well, it exploded in my face. It knocked me back, and it ripped the buttons off my shirt.
Oh, it ripped the buttons off your shirt? You're like it's like a cartoon moment.
Oh, I know. It was awful because I got up, and I was dazed, of course, and you know how it sounds when you've got your hands cupped against your ears really, really tight, real muffled?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was like that. I couldn't hardly hear. And I had rubber embedded all in my clothes, my face.
Oh,
and
my
everything.
goodness.
And I was just sitting there. Well, this one guy, and the first thing that popped into my head was, I'm getting kicked out of the Army because I can't hear.
Is that grounds for dismissal, stupidity?
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised they even gave me an M16. Anyway, but
Well, they gave an M16, not a tire.
yeah, exactly.
They wouldn't give you a tire.
So this guy, it was this little man, whatever, with his family. He picked me up and he, was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Well, he took me to the doctor and everything, to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the doctors were looking at me, saying, "What's going on?" And I told them, and of course, the little nurses around were all laughing at me and everything. I felt awful. And so there was a knot on the back of my head, but he had said that if my hearing didn't come back and all this other stuff, come back to the hospital and everything. But of course, I had to go back to the barracks and to my company commander, and they all were laughing at me.
Because you had to tell them what happened.
Yeah, I had to. So I just looked awful with my shirt torn up and, rubber particles all embedded in my face and called big old goober head.
Oh, no. And then did they give you a nickname that stayed with you the rest of the time you were there?
Not for that, but when I was in basic training, they called me Strychnine because, long story short, I grew up in Texas. I went through basic training up in New Jersey in the middle of winter. Ice everywhere. I wasn't used to that. When they said about face, I did it and knocked everybody over like a
No, you gosh.
Yeah.
And yet they handed you M16s.
Exactly, and grenades.
Thank you, James. Thank you so much for calling and telling us your story. And thank you for protecting us as well, for keeping an eye on us. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Hey, Cooper. How are you?
I'm good. So what's your stupid thing that you did that landed you in the hospital?
Well, I didn't go to the hospital, but my little cousin did.
Okay.
What I did was we were playing the creek back when I was like 8 and she was like 7 or somewhere around there. And we're throwing rocks in the creek, and, little creek in my backyard, and we're thinking, hey, you were splashing water, killing bugs, having fun. So then she gets in the creek to pick up this big rock, and I just picked the rock up beside her head, and I'm thinking, I want to throw it in the creek, I'm going to land it right next to her, and I'm going to scare the heck out of her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I threw it, but it didn't land up next to her. It landed right on top of her head. There was blood everywhere.
How bad?
I started screaming. She started screaming. Her mother ran outside, ran up to the bathroom. The tub was covered in blood.
Oh, God.
And she had to go to the hospital to get stitches. I think she had a concussion. It wouldn't have been the first one. My mom dropped her on her head when she was a baby anyways. But
oh, gosh. Poor girl.
She's had so many mishaps when it comes to pain. But it was crazy. She had to go to the hospital for it.
Okay. See that now, Mike, that's a twist on our story. Usually we're talking about stupid things we did that landed us in the hospital. There's stupid things we did that landed other people in the hospital. That's the other option.
That could be a whole other
That's a whole other topic. Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for your story. Hi, Jenny. How are you?
Oh, fine. How about yourself?
I'm good. So what's your... is this something that you ended up in the hospital, or did you do something that landed somebody else in the hospital?
Oh, it was definitely me.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, when I was 12, my parents decided to go on a trip, and so my grandmother was staying with us, and she can't speak English, and so my neighbor decided to go and take us out to dinner. And on the way back, when we were rolling into the driveway, I looked over to my sister, and I said, "Hey, Tina, look at this." I opened the door, and I started to step out. Well, stupid me, the car's still moving, and so my foot was rolling back, or was stationary, and the car kept moving forward. And of course, it rolled over my ankle.
Oh my!
And pulled me out of the car. And basically, thankfully, the car rolled over my, and so I jumped up and started to jump back into the car, and I said, everything's fine, and it was hurting so bad. And my neighbor looked back and she said, "What just happened?" And I said, "No, everything's fine." And I started to limp into the house, and it was dark. So when we got into the house, everybody saw what happened. My foot by that time had
to be enormous by then.
It was huge. It was double the size, and there was this part of my ankle which obviously had, I guess the tire had rubbed off the skin.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Did somebody finally, please tell me somebody took you to the hospital.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, at first we stopped at the grocery store because...
oh, God. I love that. I love that your family left you with somebody who doesn't speak English and stopped at the grocery store on the way to the hospital. Jenny.
Well,
we're running out of time. I'm sorry to do this to you. I'm going to have to cut you off, but thank you so much for telling your story, and I'm really glad that you're okay.